Hey everybody, it's Tuesday night. I am still a professional podcaster, and this is still DeBord Room. All right, we are finally live after I played with my internet for the last 15 minutes. I'm Josh DeBord, and I am joined by a very special guest today, even though she's wearing a very interesting jacket. I want to welcome Crystal Page from The Buzz to the show. Crystal, how are you doing?
I'm great. I'm excited to be here.
Well, I call it interesting and not insulting way. So you are pretty much our Seahawks writer for The Buzz, right?
Yeah, I've done a couple other things, but yeah, that's pretty much what I focus on.
So tell me, how did you become such a huge Seahawks fan?
All right, so disclaimer, because this is what I always get, it is not because of a boy. Well, I guess unless you consider my dad. So my dad moved up to Washington State when I was young, and we started watching the games together on Sunday mornings. It was like our thing to do. We would go skiing in the morning and come home and watch the Hawks. And to this day, I still talk to my dad before the game, after the game, during the game. And it's our 4 hours together that we get to hang out and have some us time. So that's how I became a Seahawks fan.
See, that's pretty much how I became a Patriots fan, except my dad hates New England with all of his heart. He didn't back when I was a kid when I first started watching. The first game I watched was Jacksonville versus New England. I was like 6 years old, and I was like, Dad, those jerseys are so cool. And he's like, leave me alone. I just kept like asking him stupid things. He's like, listen, that can be your team. So I started rooting for him. They lost to Green Bay, so that's when I started hating Brett Favre, and then I kind of just stuck with them. They just happened to stumble across the best 20-year run of all time. But, I'm still here. My Cam Newton jersey's somewhere thrown around this apartment. So me and Cam
one jersey? Good terms. That's all you have is one jersey.
No, I have so many jerseys. It's not even funny. But I'm wearing Cam because he's my quarterback now.
Well, that makes sense.
But before we get into this, we got to thank our buddies over at Manscaped. If it wasn't for them, I'd be wearing my Tom Brady jersey right now, and you'd probably be sick to your stomach. So, Crystal, I tell them every week how important it is for men to take care of themselves. Maybe they just need to hear it from a woman. Will you please tell everybody why they need to go to Manscaped, use DB2020, and get 20% off and free shipping and get their stuff together for the holidays?
So from a girl's perspective, I have the same expectations as my man has for me. So you have expectations for me. I'm going to have expectations for you. We'll just leave it right there.
Men, I'll get to my buddy Nick here in a second. He's already talking shit about Cam. But anyway, before we get to that, check out this promo from our buddies over at Manscaped, and then I'm going to start taking these insulting questions that are already coming in. All right, Chris, I don't want to be rude. It's always ladies first, but my buddy, Nick Turnmeyer, if you throw like Cam, it couldn't have went too far. So my jersey is up over by my Christmas tree. So to be fair, I didn't try to throw it far because I didn't want it to land in the Christmas tree. And Nick, that is shit. Okay? And turn your hat around. Nobody wears it backwards anymore.
That's not true.
Good job by your Browns choking away that lead last night also, by the way. But anyway, he's a Browns fan. I don't even want to hear it.
Yeah, I mean.
All right, so listen. So when I first started with the old place, we won't mention that by name. I went on a show that we still have called Game Winning Drive, and they made me give them my top 5 New England Patriots. And it was probably the roughest question that they've ever asked me. So who are your top 5 Seattle Seahawks ever?
Top 5. Well, I mean, I always start with Sean Alexander. I mean, he's my number one. Do I get to pick ones that are playing now, or do I have to?
Yeah,
any of them? All right.
Any.
Perfect. Then that's easy. All right. Sean Alexander is my all-time favorite Seahawker. Then I would go with the twins, the Griffin brothers, because they're from down here in Florida and they're an amazing young man. And then I would go with DK Metcalf. So that brings me to what? 4?
Mm-hmm.
Yep, 4. And then I would probably go with Dixon with big balls.
Okay. No Russell, no Matt Hasselbeck.
I like to go off the cusp. Like that's the norm. Fair. Like everybody picks those.
Brady's number 1 for me. I mean, I can't. There's no getting around it. I mean, Bledsoe's in my top 5 though. That was my first favorite player. What's up, Brant? Yeah, DK is a monster. Good job, Belichick. You definitely missed that one. Thanks for N'Keal Harry. But so speaking of, so when I first asked you to come on, I was like, well, I try to cater the show to who I have on. It's like when Bakley's on, I talk about the Eagles. When Archie's on, we talk about like the Raptors and hockey and stuff. So with you, the only thing that really comes to mind, unfortunately for you, is we played each other in the Super Bowl, and you guys had the lead by 14 twice. But, you know, that dude that wears number 12, that is the greatest player of all time, just kept coming back. But at the end of the game, everybody in the world was shocked you did not give the ball to number 24, who was running all over us that day. Now, let me ask you, because as a Patriots fan who still has a nightmare about 3 or 4 times a year about David Tyree catching that ball in his helmet, does the Malcolm Butler interception still haunt the Seahawks fans to this day?
Yeah, it's too early to talk about. I keep telling you this. It's too early to talk about, and it's a day that never existed.
No, it existed. In preparation of this, I watched my DVD that I bought of the game last weekend.
Oh, don't blame that on me that you watched that. You probably watched that weekly.
No, listen, it's the second greatest Super Bowl of all time. After the Atlanta one, we came back from 28-3. Paul Richardson came out of nowhere to have a great game. Yeah, there was a lot of people. Marshawn ran all over us. We couldn't run the ball. We ran it 21 times for 57 yards. Just at one point, Brady just had to spread it out and try to your guys' defense was loaded too. I was watching the game. That was probably one of the best offenses New England's had and one of the best defenses Seattle's ever had. And it came down to one play. It was honestly my second favorite Super Bowl, and I didn't have fingernails for like a week afterwards.
No. I mean, I cried for days. So
when they lost to the Giants, I threw my stuff out in the snow, and my dad made me go get it because he bought most of it. I took all my Patriot stuff out of the closet and launched it in the front yard. So it was a very fun time. And David Tyree, you had glue on your helmet, dude. You can quit lying. It's been over 10 years now.
I think us Seahawks fans went through probably 3 stages. 1, we all hopped up on Facebook on any post that was ever made about anything that went down and just said kind of like, what was that? Why did that happen? Worst call ever, right? And then we probably drank for the next 5 days to forget what happened. And then we slowly crawled out of ourselves to be like, okay, next man up. And we're just going to pretend that never happened. So I think if you talk to any Seahawks fan, that's pretty much the response you're going to get is too early. It's too early to talk about.
Brant says, I hate when coaches get cute around the goal line. And you see it nowadays. Yesterday, what did I say, Tuesday, Sunday, I was watching Dallas and the Bengals. So my parents like the Cowboys. And you watch Andy Dalton throw the ball 3 times. It's like, just give it to Zeke at least twice. You're paying the guy $16 million. Run the ball. Why are you getting so cute and trying to run double option reverses and throwing the ball in the end zone? Chuck, so my dude off RSH, I always root against the Ravens. Well, you're a Bengals fan, Chuck. You're supposed to. He's learning. Let's get to something we can both agree on. We have common ground here. You absolutely destroyed the New York Jets yesterday or Sunday.
Oh God, was that not that? I mean, I had a blast watching that game. It was so much fun to watch.
Geno Smith had to be so happy to get a play against his old team that just cut him.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, he was. I guess they went to Russell during the half and was like, "Hey, we're think we're going to put Geno in and see what we got, and we're not sure how this is all going to work because we've never let you chillax on the bench before, but we're going to roll with it." And they did. And he had a couple of great plays, and it was great to see the young guys get to play together because they haven't had much of that opportunity. So for them to actually get some play time in a game, it's going to make a huge difference for us going forward.
Yeah, depth's always a good thing, especially with the kind of injuries you guys seem to always have, especially like on the offensive line. Baker wants to know, were you a fan of pre or post Kingdom?
Pre-Kingdom. I'm pre-Kingdom. My first Seahawks game was actually in the Kingdom. And I've seen Seahawks games and Mariners games in the Kingdom. And I actually had a piece of the Kingdom roof fall like almost on me.
So were you a Supersonics fan as well?
I was a Supersonics fan. And I was so excited that they said that if Seattle sold out the hockey team, all the season tickets, that they would bring the Sonics back, and then COVID happened. So I don't know. I don't know if we'll get the Sonics back. The Supersonics were so much fun. Seattle's just a diehard Seattle fan group overall. So if you are a diehard Seahawks fan, more than likely you're going to either be a Sounders fan or a Mariners fan. We pretty much just stick together.
GP and Kip, I like Seattle. I was going to make a joke and ask you how you thought they were going to do this year, but I'm going to be nice.
Why? I mean,
I'm a Cavs fan. I know we're going to win like 10 games this year, so it's fine.
I mean, going into the season, the hopes is always that you're going to go, 16-0. But realistically,
I was going to ask you what your hopes for the Sonics this year was.
Oh, the hopes for the Sonics this year? Oh, the hopes for the Sonics this year? I mean, I don't think we're going to get them back, but we'll see.
All right. So from a Seahawks perspective, 2 questions.
Yep.
Is there any team you don't want to see in the postseason? So as a Patriots fan, I never want to see Baltimore. I typically don't want to see Kansas City, even though Belichick seems to slow Mahomes down. For whatever reason, he seems to know how to at least slow him down enough. But Baltimore, Kansas City, and Miami are 3 teams I never want to see. Is there anybody in the NFC this year you don't want Seattle to end up playing in that first round?
I mean, right now, I would probably say the Rams and Green Bay. I mean, when we play them, it's a coin flip. So, I mean, those are probably 2 of the teams that I'm like, oh God, this could go either way.
All right. So what has to happen for Seattle to make another Super Bowl run? I know we talked a couple weeks ago in Slack where everybody at the Buzz talks. Russell's been inconsistent over the last month. Just something's been kind of off. He was hot the first 10 weeks of the season. We thought he was going to win MVP, which seems to now be going down to Rodgers and Mahomes because they just keep throwing 4 to 5 touchdowns a week. How far do you think this team can go this year? Do you think they can make another Super Bowl run?
I mean, I think we're gonna make a run for it, of course. One, Sierra needs to stop putting Russell in those stupid outfits and have him concentrate on football during football. I'm a huge Sierra fan. I love her. She's a great asset to our community, but like there's a time and place for everything. And right now it's all about football and getting the boys to the Super Bowl right now. So stop all the other nonsense. Leave the perfume for the summertime. Let's just leave it there. We have to stay healthy. That's the other one. We have to stay healthy. And, hopefully that will happen. You never know. I mean, especially with the whole COVID thing. Nobody on our team has had a scare yet, which is good. But they've been super, super careful about keeping themselves in the bubble. And they have to click. And I think Sunday's game against the Jets, they definitely, overall as a team, they were clicking and they were back to having fun and they were focused. And that's where we as a team need to be for us to get anywhere in postseason or to the Super Bowl. They have to click.
Yes, we have a couple comments. So Brant says this week's Washington football team, they need a damn name. I refuse to call them the football team. Washington, they do have a great defensive line. They are absolutely loaded on the defensive line. They have 3 first-round picks and like 2 second-round picks, and they're just rotating them in and out. So your guys' offensive line, it will be interesting to see how you guys handle that. Nick's a big – I think Aaron Donald's the best player in the NFL. If I was starting a team and I got the first pick, I'd pick Aaron Donald. He just wrecks the game, and he wrecked my Patriots last Thursday. He thinks Aaron Donald and the Rams will win the division, which it looks like December 27th, you guys play them at home. That will decide the game. That is going to decide probably the division, right?
Yep, that's gonna be fear factor. It's gonna be fear factor game. That will more than likely decide our division. But the plus things for us is we're at home. Which normally we have the 12th man sound there that, just destroys other teams. But it will be interesting to see what time. I forget what time we play.
They've moved it to 1:00.
Oh, okay. If they moved it, because I think it was a 4:00 game.
It was supposed to be 4:30. They flexed it to 1:00 and moved it from Fox to CBS.
There you go. Which is not bad. I'll take that.
Well, they're probably just trying to line up all their good games at like different time slots. Because I know Sunday was pretty ridiculous. I was trying to watch 2 games at the same time, and they both had like huge implications. So they'd be smart to spread it out. That's why they took the Cowboys out of primetime and put the Browns there. Never thought I'd live to see that day.
I didn't think I would live to see that day either, but it happened.
My parents did either. My dad and mom are not very happy about it. Bakley says, and I agree with them, Seahawks need to get the running game going, and they need Carson. Chris Carson's kind of like your guys' X factor to me. When he's healthy, he kind of makes that stuff, the offense, go. When he's not healthy, you guys just kind of recycle through. I feel like you go through 10 running backs a year. Carlos Hyde's out of the nursing home he was in, taking carries again. Then you sign Turbin. Hell, Marshawn came out last week and said, I'll play, but I'm not playing for a team that's going to the playoffs. He said, hey, I bet he's 8 Skittles. I bet he's ready to go.
Oh, he'll play. If it's postseason, he'll play.
He will. He'll come back for he's did that a couple years ago, right? He came back like week 17 and then just played for the playoffs.
Yep. Yeah. Yep. Carson looked great Sunday. He was running the ball. He was back to his hurdles. He was jumping around. He looked a lot better. So he has been up and down all season, but he also gets to the point where when we're this far into the season and we're going into the postseason, he'll push through it. Like it's no holds bar for him. He'll just push through it and do what he needs to do.
What's different about Seattle to me this year, because we played you guys week 2, and Cam played pretty damn well, but your defense has got a lot better since week 2, because Cam can't put up 90 yards passing on anybody now. In that game, he had almost 360 through the air. Jamal Adams, I think, was your guys' best move. but it's still super weird after watching you guys for years be one of the best defenses in the league. And now Russell's legitimately going back there, spreading it out, and the offense is carrying you. Are you still getting used to that? Because you guys went from Sherman, Chancellor, Wagner's still there, but he's getting older. I mean, Bruce Irvin, you guys were loaded, and now it's Russ, Metcalf, Lockett. If Josh Gordon can put the pot down, he'll be there. Greg Olsen. I mean, is that still an adjustment for you? Because it's kind of, you guys flipped from relying on your defense. Because when you won that first Super Bowl against Denver, you had the lead before Russell even took the field.
Oh yeah. I mean, that was a killer game. But I mean, I think it's, like, I feel like our offense is either on it this year or our defense is on it. And I think it all really comes down to injuries, and key players not being available and, needing another week off. We didn't have Griffin for a month. I mean, he was out for a month. Jamal Adams was out for a couple, 3 weeks, I think it was.
Yeah, he was out a couple weeks too.
Yeah, a couple weeks. I mean, Carson was out a couple weeks. Like it seems like it's one or the other for us, and we're just now getting to the point where everybody's about back in action. And if that happens, then we're going to go back to where we were at the beginning of the season, and we're going to kill the playoff. We're going to kill postseason. That's going to happen.
As my buddy Nick. Hey, Nick, thanks. Nick's one of my best friends. Thanks for tuning into my show for the first time in the year and a half it's been going. I appreciate it, and just talking shit about New England the whole time. He also said there's a rule now, since we're talking playoffs, we can't talk about New England because they won't be there. All right. I think you guys can make a run. He's trying to throw me off. I think you guys can make a run. Carson's health is going to be key because you guys tend to go away from the run. And Carlos Hyde, I mean, he just doesn't get it going. I like Travis Homer, but only catching the ball out of the backfield. Honestly, he's not going in between the tackles.
No,
the key for you guys is just going to be getting healthy. I wouldn't worry about seeding as much because you got Russell. To me, he's one of the top 3 quarterbacks in the league. So you guys should be okay. But you know who isn't one of the top 3 quarterbacks in the league? I hope Bakley's still watching. It's time to talk about his Eagles. We argued about this earlier. So Jalen Hurts beats New Orleans.
Yeah.
And I get on Facebook and Twitter and whatever, and all the Eagles fans are already kicking Carson Wentz out the door, and they're anointing Jalen Hurts the next greatest thing on this planet as he goes 17 for 30, not even 200 yards passing, fumbles the ball that New Orleans almost came back and could have won that game, which people forget because, New Orleans didn't. Yes, he ran for 100 yards. But, all right, Crystal, I think they're going a little overboard. Do you think he's the answer, or do Eagles fans need to chill?
So my perspective personally was that Eagles fans need to chill, but I feel like that's what the Eagles fans do. They're like, oh, it's all right. The next best thing, like they have a little bit of heartbreak about letting somebody go, and then the next best thing is there, and that's life itself. So I don't think he's the next best thing, but I do like him and Wentz together, and I think they're both going to stay.
It's going to be hard. He has a $60 million cap hit. Like, he's $60 million dead on the cap, and when the cap's going down next year, I don't see how you're going to build a good team. I mean, the Eagles are struggling to build a good team now. Look at the lack of talent on the offensive line and at wide receiver. But here's something that I've been hearing a lot, but New England's not going to do it unless they eat some money. Wentz to New England would make a ton of sense if it wasn't for his terrible contract. I feel Wentz could benefit from a change of scenery. I think he's just burnt out in Philly. He had all that shit from when Nick Foles won the Super Bowl, even though Wentz got him to 13 wins. He was going to win MVP until he got hurt. But Foles won him the Super Bowl. That had to hurt his psyche a little bit because everybody's like, we should keep Foles. And then he struggled a little bit. Yeah, Philly's, no offense, Bakley, but you guys booed Santa Claus. Like, what the hell's wrong with Philadelphia fans? Like, you guys boo you don't like nothing. But I like Wentz to the Patriots, Nick. That's one thing we can actually agree on. But we're not eating any of that 60 million. Philadelphia's gonna have to like eat 40 or 50 of it. I'm with you though.
So I made a call because I wanted to actually get a Philly standpoint. So I called my buddy, who is, the Philly sports guy, and he thinks what we think, that Wentz is staying. There's not a lot of good quarterbacks out there right now. Quarterbacks get hurt, and keeping both of them is a good idea unless they're going to get 2 first-round picks for him. And he thinks that that's really the only way that they're going to let him go.
Yeah, the only team that makes sense is the Colts, because Phillip Rivers is going to retire most likely, right? Frank Reich was his offensive coordinator with the Eagles when he was an MVP. He was going to win MVP if he didn't get hurt. There's no doubt in anybody's mind. But
he would have. He would have absolutely won. And I blame it on myself because I drafted him for fantasy that year that he got hurt, and I have a tendency just to injure off all my guys on fantasy. So I'm sorry.
Baker's having a scene with himself in the comments. So Santa was a drunk guy provoking fans. He's drinking eggnog, dude. Leave him alone. It's Christmas time. He says he's staying because Doug has been a letdown to Carson. Well, earlier, Baker, you're telling me Jalen Hurts is the answer. Make up your mind. You can't pick both.
He can pick both. He's a Phillies fan. That's what they do.
Listen, I'd still rather have Cam. Anyway, let's move on to something else we agree on. I try to find stuff we agree on because there isn't as much, because we tend to not agree when it comes to New England and Seattle. Pittsburgh lost again.
I know.
To Buffalo, who I hate. Josh Allen's Nick is still overrated. What was he, 7 of 20 in the first half? Josh Allen needs to get over himself. But are the Steelers overrated? Because now they've lost 2 in a row after almost losing to Dallas. They almost lost to Baltimore when half their team had COVID. They've almost lost like 6 or 7 games this year to teams they had no business almost losing to. So are Pittsburgh going to be one and done?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm with you. The Chiefs got the one seed now.
They're always overrated. They have a tendency to all of a sudden come out with a bang, and then, they're one big letdown at the end. So I think that was the one thing that we actually agreed upon.
Do you think Ben's done?
And I think, and I still have hurt feelings from the Super Bowl, which we should have won.
That's fair. I forgot about that one. It's hard for me to remember any Super Bowls the last 20 years that New England hasn't been in, because there's just been so many. So, the other ones just kind of get lost. We've only been to 9 in 20 years. Nick says, unless they can establish a run game, they're too one-dimensional. He's absolutely right. James Conner's been out. Even when he's been playing, he's not effective. Benny Snell looked good in the Baltimore game, but they decided to quit giving him the ball for some reason. And Ben, how bad does Ben look? Because he just looks like a shell of himself. And Pittsburgh doesn't have any young quarterbacks on their roster. They don't really have any draft capital to draft another one, not one of the big names at least. After this year, Pittsburgh could actually be looking at a rebuild.
Ben has to retire. It's any minute that it's going to happen, because he's got to be beat up and just exhausted at this point.
He said at his press conference that if he keeps playing like crap, he will retire, because he said he's not going to keep playing like crap. Remember, he threatened to retire like 3 years ago too.
He did, because he played like crap that time, and then he came back at the beginning of the season and was like, "Oh, I just needed a mental break. I'm great now, and I'm ready to get back at it." And he should have. I think he should have retired then.
Yeah, Nick, 51 passes. That is way too much for anybody, especially Roethlisberger. Even though his offensive line is really good, you don't want to be doing that. His wide receivers have been dropping a lot of passes. You think with all the weapons he has, me and Drew talk on Blitz all the time about fantasy-wise with their wide receivers, because you got Claypool, Schuster, Washington, hell, Ebron. There's too many of them, but none of them really matter right now because they're all dropping the ball.
None of them are consistent. Consistent.
If Joe Burrow was playing this week, I'd be picking Cincinnati to beat him on Monday Night Football. That's how bad Pittsburgh looks right now. But I'm not I watched Dallas just destroy the Bengals last week, so I can't do it.
Don't do it.
All right, so I think we're going to have a repeat Super Bowl champion as of this second. Before the season, I picked New Orleans and the Chiefs, and I got New Orleans winning and Drew Brees riding off into the sunset. I'm not backing away from that yet, but the way things look, because going back to the Philly game, the Saints haven't looked that great this year without Brees. They beat a team who every quarterback on their team got COVID. They had to bring a practice squad wide receiver up to play quarterback. They beat Atlanta, who's terrible, twice. So Taysom Hill's 3-0 against two terrible teams because they played Atlanta 2 times in 3 weeks. So right now I feel Kansas City's the best team and still the team to beat, especially after watching them play Miami, who's actually – New England plays them this week. I hate Miami, but they look like they're going to be good for a long time. Even though Mahomes struggled, they won. It didn't go down to the last play. They still won a little bit going away. Do you think there's anybody in the AFC that can actually knock off Kansas City to stop them from getting to the Super Bowl this year?
I think Kansas City has it without a doubt, but I mean Kansas City has it. I can't really go without anybody but Kansas City.
No, because everybody
else has just been so over the place. And like you said, like the whole COVID thing, like they've been up and down and, you know, like not having enough players to really play games and having to reschedule all kinds of crazy games to make it happen. So Kansas City is the only one that's been consistent.
And they don't have COVID. They're doing it right. Whatever they're doing, you don't see any of their key players really with COVID. Every team's had a few, but you see more with – you've seen like the Ravens. I don't know what's going on there because their whole team's had COVID for the last month. Pittsburgh, Buffalo, Tennessee, Cleveland. See, I liked Cleveland until I seen their defense get lit up last night. I can't believe they let – hell, Lamar didn't even throw for 100 yards and they gave up 47 points. I don't think that – you know what's crazy? I think the Dolphins have the best shot of beating them because I just watched them almost beat them.
I mean, and that would be so much fun to see the Dolphins in there. And out of anybody else, I mean, they're just on fire right now. So that would be the only one that could possibly have a chance. Possibly.
Yeah, I thought Tua should have played since
I think the Browns are done.
Last night was such a kick in the you-know-what for them.
I know. It is because, again, it's like the Steelers. They get all hyped up, and then they're nothing but letdowns. So.
Yeah, and Baker looked good again last night. Just the defense. It's always something with them. It's very inconsistent. I think the Chiefs have it. I mean, right now they'd get the bye. You get Pittsburgh and Miami. I think Miami would beat Pittsburgh. If I was picking that game straight up, I'd pick Miami. Colts and Buffalo. Oh, God. I'll pick it if I have to down the road. And Tennessee and Cleveland, which Cleveland just beat the crap out of Tennessee a few weeks ago. So I feel like that would be a very close game. It's hard to beat a team that badly twice in a row.
It is hard to beat a team that badly twice in a row.
I think Kansas City is going to the Super Bowl. The NFC, Green Bay, Arizona, Tampa Bay, Seattle, Washington, or the Giants, the Rams, the Saints. The Vikings are still hanging around. Hell, the Bears are still technically in it. But I could see Green Bay, New Orleans, the Rams, Seattle, or Tampa Bay going to the Super Bowl, like realistically.
Tampa Bay, and who knows now that they have Brady because they're pretty much a different team, but Tampa Bay never plays well in postseason. They always seem to, other than the one Super Bowl they won. And what was that? 2000?
Yeah. And they were defense. They rode their defense.
Oh yeah, they rode their defense.
That was Brad Johnson, I think.
2003, was it 2003, 2004?
Yeah, it was real. It was 2000. New England won it in 4, so it would have had to been 3.
It had to be 3. I knew I had just moved down here like a year or two before that happened.
I tell you, the Patriots win it so much, it runs together. It's hard to remember those other years. I told you. It's a struggle.
You know, it's a struggle in life to win that much. But you got to lose every once in a while. And look what happened this year.
And that's it.
You guys are gonna have to rebuild yourself back up.
We'll be back next year.
Mm-hmm.
So Nick's got Green Bay and
FYI, we'll all be back next year.
No, New England will be back in the Super Bowl hunt next year.
Yeah.
Nick's got
first Green game Bay of the season, all in the hunt of the Super Bowl.
Stop. So disrespectful to the greatness of the Bill Belichick. Nick, you're wrong. Buffalo's not making the AFC Championship game. I will cover all bets on that one, whatever you want to do for that. Legally, of course. Buffalo and Kansas City, and he's got Green Bay and New Orleans. I can see Green Bay and New Orleans. I can't see Buffalo. I just need to see what Josh Allen won a playoff game. I can't get the game last year out of my head where he just continuously threw the ball to the wrong team. I think on purpose, too. I don't know what he was thinking. All right. So we're going to go through game picks, but before we get there. Go ahead.
No.
Or are you mocking me?
I'm mocking you.
All right. I got to be professional again. Check us out on social media at The Buzz. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I think TikTok's becoming a thing. I've learned what that is in the last day. But check us out on all our social media platforms, and this is where you can find us.
Get the Lambo car, house in the hills with the stars. Told you I'd raise the bar, told you that I'd go far. Baby, it's crystal clear. I'm not a souvenir. I'm not an accessory. I'm a necessity. So come and check me out now. I'm a necessity. So come and check me out now.
Yep, you can find us there. Our Twitter and Facebook is right by my name on the bottom left, WTB.com. Like us, follow us, go to whatthebuzz.com. Check out all of our articles. Pumped up. I think we got 12 new articles today, so expect that every day. Go check it out. All right, Crystal. So last year I finished with a below 500 record in my game picks. So I'm very happy that I probably – mathematically, I don't think I can finish under 500 anymore. I'm at 128, 77, and 1 because the damn Bengals and Eagles tied. I did lose the game last night, though. That was kind of rough. Damn Browns, what I get for trusting Cleveland. So Thursday night. So this game's relevant for me because I got Keenan Allen in fantasy football in the playoff, and I have a huge playoff game this week. The Raiders and the Chargers. I'm going with the upset. I'm going with the Chargers. This is a game the Raiders always lose. When the Raiders are in playoff contention, they lose. It's just what they do. So I think the Chargers go in, Herbert lights them up, and the Chargers beat their division rival. What do you think?
I'm going to go with the Raiders. I'm going to go with the Raiders. I think they're kind of coming together. I think they have a better coaching staff overall than the Chargers do. I think that's going to make a difference. But sometimes when you come off, they won last week, right? They won last week, I think.
The Raiders,
No,
they fired their defensive coordinator.
Oh, yeah. Well,
they lost to the Colts 44-27.
44-27? Oh, well, then,
Chargers all right, so you got them in a bounce back game. So does Nick. How many bets?
I have them in a bounce back game. I think they're going to win.
Listen, I just need Keenan Allen to get like 7 catches, 120 yards, and a touchdown. I need to win my fantasy game this week. I got to take the Buzz's fantasy football league. All right, so I refuse to pick against New England anymore. So I've picked against them 4 times this year, and they've won all 4 times. So I'm picking them forever and always. I got them beating Miami. Go ahead and tell me you're picking the Dolphins.
I'm picking the Dolphins. You guys are awful when you guys go to Miami. I don't know what happens with you guys if you go party it up and let
Too
it
hot.
lose the night before. But every time you guys come down to Miami and play, it's a poop show.
Here's the question. Is Cam going to get over 100 yards passing? I know. It's rough. It's the fact that he's throwing for like 90 yards and we were winning games blows my mind. I got New England. I'm not confident. Let's just move on. Buffalo and Denver. And this one hurts me too. I got to pick Buffalo. I don't trust anything Denver's doing. Buffalo just honestly got their biggest win in years. I mean, they went and beat Pittsburgh, and Buffalo really doesn't. You've seen them play Kansas City earlier this year. They don't show up in these big games. Pittsburgh had to be a confidence booster. This is a game they should win. If they win, they clinch the division. I think they win, and they win the AFC East. And that's the first time in 10 years anybody but New England's won the AFC East.
Did that just break your heart a little bit to say that?
It did. It did. That hurt. Like the words were coming out of my mouth. It was kind of rough, but I'll get through it.
I feel like you should say that one more time to kind of like, let's
I
work
don't
through.
want to. The Buffalo Bills are going to win the AFC East for the first time in 10 years. It wasn't easier the second time.
I got the Bills on this one too. So.
All right, so we talked about Kansas City. Do you think the Bills can make a run like everybody else in the world seems to?
No.
Good. At least I have somebody else. Everybody thinks they're going to make this huge run and they can actually beat Kansas City. I just don't understand why.
Yeah, I have a hard time when you haven't played postseason for that long. Like you don't know how to handle that. So like no.
I don't trust Josh Allen. I don't know what happens between his brain and his arm when the games hit in January, but it's not good. Like I said, that Houston Texans Buffalo Bills game, I was watching it with my buddy Nick last year, and I don't know if neither team just didn't want to win, but Watson and Allen were just throwing the ball to the opposing team back to back to back. Just Watson finally hit Hopkins, who they traded after the game, or in the offseason actually, which blew my mind too. But I got Buffalo. Yes, they're going to win the division. Let's not make me say it again. Dallas and San Francisco. So it's weird these two teams are playing, and it means absolutely nothing. Dallas is – I mean, they're technically still in the division hunt because the NFC East is such a joke. And the 49ers, I think they're eliminated from playoff contention at this point because I think they did lose last week.
Yeah.
I got Dallas. I think Dallas is going to win, but this game, it's so weird it doesn't mean anything. Normally when these two teams play, there's normally pretty high stakes.
I'm going to go with Dallas just because I refuse to pick the 49ers. That's
fair.
Really,
Seahawks fan picking the 49ers.
Like it's all about the Hawks for me. So, even if it doesn't make sense, I'm going to do what I need to do for my guys.
That's fair. That's why I just cringe picking Buffalo. The Bears and the Vikings. So the winner still has playoff hope. The loser I think they're actually eliminated from playoff contention. I tend to root for my boy Dave Prince's team on this. I got the Vikings. I also got Dalvin Cook in fantasy, so I need him to play well. But I just trust Minnesota more. They're coming off a loss. Kirk Cousins was pissed off. When he plays pissed off, when he gets beat up, he bounces back more often than not for as much criticism as the guy gets. And my sister, Yvonne, is worried like hell that the Vikings are going to sneak in that 7 seed and play your Saints because they tend to be the kryptonite for New Orleans every year. They play them on Christmas as well. But I got Minnesota actually beating the Bears pretty easily.
So I know the Bears, their defense looked good last week, but I'm going to go with the Vikings. Like you said, they're coming off that win or that loss from down here in Tampa, and when it comes down to it, they get dirty when they have to. If it's either we win this or we go home and we're done for the season, the Vikings are going to come in charging. So,
yeah, it's a must win for both. Minnesota's at home. They're coming off a loss, and Mitchell Trubisky's not going to play that good. If he was hell, he had a better QBR than Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady last week. That is never going to happen again. Mitchell Trubisky, he'll never play 2 games in a row that well ever. Never. We'll see. Watch him do it just because I said he won't. I got Minnesota, though. Green Bay's in cruise control, I feel like, right now. They play Carolina. I think they'll beat – Green Bay just has to win out. Their schedule's not tough to end the year either. I think Green Bay's going to win out and get that number 1 seed. I just think they're going to beat the crap out of Carolina.
It would be really hard for them not to beat the crap out of Carolina.
Carolina, Tennessee. Okay, they play the Titans on the 27th. It's a Sunday night football game. Then they play the Bears. That could be close. I still think they'll beat Tennessee. So in your opinion, as a Seahawks fan, this is going to be hard for you to say. Is Green Bay the best team in the NFC this year?
No.
Who is?
The Seahawks.
Oh, boy. The bias. I'm
never going to not pick my team. It's just never going to happen.
Okay. Well, your second favorite quarterback of all time is playing the Falcons this week. Brady played well. For something just doesn't feel right in Tampa for me. I feel like they're one and done in the playoffs. I don't know what it is. Something's not right. I thought it was kind of weird that him and Arians tried to have a golf outing during their bye week that the NFL told them you weren't allowed to go on because of COVID, and they got really upset about it. I think they're really trying to push that relationship, and it's not going to work. But I got Tampa Bay winning this game because Atlanta is just kind of going downhill. I mean, Atlanta is already on to 2021.
I agree with you. I think the Bucs are going to win this one, but I also think they're going to be one and done. Again, it's the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They like to screw off a lot. That's what they do down here.
Well, look at the players they have. You got Antonio Brown, who's a loose cannon. You got Sue, who could stomp on somebody's head at any given second. You got Gronk, who the fact that he's playing in Tampa, the dude has never found a party he didn't like.
Well,
and
that's what we do down here.
Well, I feel like they're still getting used to each other as well. Like the chemistry there, something just doesn't fit. Hell, their running back's third in the NFL in rushing, but nobody knows Ronald Jones is because you'd think he's terrible because he never gets the ball. Brady's throwing it 50 times a game. He's 42 years old. He shouldn't be throwing the ball 40, 50 times a game anymore. New England didn't do that with him last year. They ran the ball.
Yeah, but Tampa doesn't run the ball.
No, Bruce Arians is a drop back and throw a deep bomb every other play. That's what Winston did last year. That's why he had 5,000 yards and 30 interceptions. So when you bring in Tom Brady, you have to change. It was a bad fit from the beginning. He should have went to Tennessee, but whatever. Speaking of, they play Detroit, and Matthew Stafford is out for the season. He has fractured ribs, and there's no reason to rush him back. I think Matthew Stafford will not be in Detroit next year.
I don't think Matthew Stafford would be in Detroit next year either. I would go with the Tennessee Titans on this one. So
nobody's running better than Derrick Henry right now. It's absolutely ridiculous. He had 200 yards on the poor Jaguars again. I think the last 3 times he's played against the Jaguars, he's had over 200 yards and 2 or more touchdowns, which is insane. He's like the new Marshawn Lynch. That's who he reminds me of. He's huge. He can run people over, and he's very entertaining and humble.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. You're going to love this one. Seattle and Washington.
Okay, I'm not going to lie.
Seattle.
This game scares me. Why do they scare you? Washington's defense is strong, So our offense needs to come out no holds bar from the beginning of the game. Like, we can't wait till the second half of the game to start putting points up on the board. Like, we need to come out strong. I'm of course going to pick Seattle because I don't pick anybody else but Seattle ever. But the game does scare me. So I'm going to be nervous Nelly for sure.
The only thing going in your favor, Alex Smith got hurt last week. I don't know what his status is. There's been no update as of yet. So if
I looked earlier today and there was no update. So
if Dwayne Haskins is playing, then that just works in your favor. The guy should be working at a Dairy Queen somewhere instead of playing quarterback in the NFL. He's absolutely terrible. They thought he was the greatest thing here in Ohio for years. He's awful. This is a Chris Carson game. You guys have to, even if he gets stopped, if he has 9 carries for 4 yards, keep giving him the damn ball. That pass rush of Washington is the only thing you guys really need to fear. Chase Young can get to the quarterback. Sweat last week kept hitting Roethlisberger. I mean, they have a legit pass rush. Their secondary is not that good, but you have to give Russ time to get Metcalf and Lockett and all them open. So you're going to have to use play action a lot. You're going to have to try to run the ball. Jamie says you guys better – thanks for tuning in. You guys better beat Washington.
I got you, Jamie.
Pass rush is all I'd be concerned about. If Alex Smith plays, I think that gives him a little better chance. Obviously, I like Alex Smith. The fact he's playing football right now is absolutely amazing to me. He's the comeback player of the year, and I'm just happy to see him playing. But I think you guys will win. I think it's going to be a close game, though. I really do. It's like a 21-17 kind of game.
I think it's going to be a close game. We need to control the turnovers. That seems to be our kryptonite this year. So we need to do that. And like I said, we need to we need to score early. Like we can't wait till the second half. We need to come out and get it done.
If Haskins plays, you guys are going to get at least 3 turnovers. That's what he does. He turns the ball over. And just think, Ohio State picked him over Joe Burrow in college. Good call, Ohio State. On to the next. Jacksonville and Baltimore. Jacksonville, for me, I've said all year, Crystal, they're tanking for Trevor. They want Trevor Lawrence. The only thing that's been in their way is the fact that the Jets haven't won a game yet, so they can't really get Trevor because the Jets won't win. But I think Baltimore, they're in the playoff hunt. They need a win. If the Raiders lose like I picked, this would get them, I think, one step closer. They just need Miami to lose. So if my picks play out the way that I say, this would get Baltimore into the playoffs.
I'm going to go with Baltimore for this one. I'm not a huge Jaguars fan. And I think with the Ravens in the fight for the wild card right now, and they're finally finding their momentum. They're finally finding their momentum, and I think they're going to keep rolling with it. So,
yeah, I think they're going to win running away. Jacksonville's packed it in. They're as soon as the season ends, they're going to fire their coach. They're going to probably fire the whole front office, and they already don't have a quarterback. They only have James Robinson, the running back's their only player they have to actually build around.
Yeah.
So I go Baltimore big. Philadelphia and Arizona. This is actually a more interesting game now that Jalen Hurts is playing to me. But I got Arizona. I think your guys' division is the best in the NFL. I love Kyler Murray. I need him to play well this week because I got him and D-Hop in fantasy. I just like Arizona more. I don't think Philadelphia can match the points, and I don't think their defense – everybody's all high on their defense because they stopped Taysom Hill. Taysom Hill's not a very good quarterback. Like I said earlier, they played 2 teams that are not very good on defense, and one had a 5th-string wide receiver playing quarterback. I got Arizona winning this one, and poor Bakley's going to have to come back down to earth a little bit.
I'm gonna go the opposite of you because I need Arizona to lose this game, so that only helps.
Jamie agrees with you.
So I mean, I think Philly's gonna roll with it. They're gonna.
I guess I can't expect you to pick the Cardinals either, being a Seahawks fan.
No.
Well, that'll be real interesting when I get to the Rams game. What a coincidence. Here it is. And pick the Jets. Do it. The Jets and the Rams. Tell me you're picking the Jets to win.
Can I just have, come on, miracles happen. It's Christmas.
No, the Jets, the only miracle that the Jets could have is if they woke up and their team got canceled.
But I wrote Santa today.
This game's going to be over. in the first 3 minutes of the game. You just played the Jets. You really think they're going to beat the Rams?
No, I don't think so. I
was trying.
I just want a Christmas miracle. That's all I want is a Christmas miracle.
Well, the Christmas miracle you want is going to be New England winning out and getting into the playoffs. You're not going to waste it on the Jets.
But I need the Rams to lose.
You just need to take care of them next week. You'll be fine. We have the Rams. She's picking an NFC West team to win, everybody. Write this down.
I'm not picking anything. I refuse.
Well, I hate to break your heart, but this is going to be the Super Bowl. This is a preview of it this week, and this is the game of the week. This is probably going to be the game of the year. Drew Brees, they don't know. He might play. They said he's 50-50 right now. Sean Payton said he is not rushing him back. Even if Brees does play, I think you're going to see Taysom Hill and Brees kind of like they do anyway, just a little bit more Taysom Hill. I picked them before the season. There's no reason for me to backtrack now. They're both in pretty good shape still. I got Kansas City winning this one, but I'm still going to have New Orleans beating them in the Super Bowl.
Really? All right.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I don't know if I can argue with that. I don't know if I can argue with that. I think Kansas City is the team to beat right now. You know, there's a chance that the Saints could make it, could bust it out and make it happen, but I don't think so. I think Kansas City's.
If Brees was 100%, I'd feel a lot better.
The team to beat.
Well, Mahomes just had a bad game, and they won. Still, he typically doesn't have bad games back to back. So I feel like he's going to come out and play 350 yards, 3 or 4 touchdowns, and he threw 3 interceptions last week. That's like Russ throwing 3 interceptions in a game. It happens once every 16 to 20 games. You won't see that again. So Mahomes will bounce back.
That's not going to happen again. It's just that never happens. It's not going to happen again. And he's definitely the better quarterback.
Yeah, Kansas City will win by 14. I just think it'll be different come February. We'll see. I've been rolling with the Saints all year. I'm going to stick with them. Nick said about the Jets, they could pull a Michigan and cancel the game for COVID to avoid embarrassment. No. As a Michigan fan, I'm glad we canceled the rest of our games because I don't want to watch them play anymore. All right, so what is that? Ooh, this is a very intriguing game to me because I'm picking the Giants to beat the Browns, and this was before that game happened last night. The Giants are a top 5 defense as far as letting yards and points allowed. Cleveland's coming off a heartbreaking loss on Monday Night Football at home. Hell, we have a 10 o'clock curfew here in Ohio, and they waived it so the fans could go to the Browns games. So I'm curious if they're going to waive it so the fans can go to the Bengals game because they're playing Pittsburgh on Monday night this week. I got the Giants. 21-9. I think the Giants have come out. Their defense locks down Baker. Baker's played 2 really good games in a row. He typically doesn't play 3 really good games in a row. And I don't trust him to stick with the run game. Nick's right. Daniel Jones' health is the factor. But they can run the ball with Gallman and Deion Lewis. I just trust the Giants' defense. I just watched the Browns give up 47 points to Lamar Jackson, and he threw for 94 yards. They give up 5 rushing touchdowns. What do you think the Giants are going to do this week? I got the Giants. Jamie's not filling my picks at all.
Jamie's not filling your picks. I think the Giants are on a roll. I think that they're going to put up a fight, but Cleveland's going to do 1 or 2 things. And I feel like this is kind of just their mindset. They're like, oh, we lost it. Oh, well, let's just go home. Season's over, right? Or they're going to go, we're still in this. We can do it. It was just 1 game, and they'll win. But
this is the definition of a trap game.
It is a trap game. It is a trap game because I think it's it's really a coin flip. It's really a coin flip, but it's going to come down to Holmes.
Don't feel bad, Nick. You guys play the Jets next week or
Yeah.
the week after this. So you'll bounce back. Then you play Pittsburgh. That'll be when we see, because Pittsburgh tends to listen, you gave up 47 to Lamar Jackson and he threw for 90 yards. I'm rolling with the Giants. I think this is low scoring. I think the Giants defense is a lot better than Baltimore's. Actually, Baltimore's defense probably should be better. They've been playing like crap for the last month, and I don't understand it. But the Giants have been playing hard. Joe Judge has them playing actually really well for losing their best player within the first 2 games. Saquon, they really don't have many options on the outside to throw the ball to outside of Golden Tate, who has been relevant since his time at Notre Dame, feels like 35 years ago. Hell, when he was with Seattle, it was probably the last time he was relevant in the NFL.
That was the last time.
And that feels like eternity ago.
He has not done anything since then.
No, he's got a lot of nice contracts, and he's got in a lot of trouble with the NFL and women. That's pretty much all he's done since he left Seattle. And no, I had this question, but we've kind of already addressed it. Do you buy the Browns as a team that can make you run in the AFC? I did until I saw that game last night. The defense, I thought their defense, I feel like if you give Hunt and Chubb the ball 20 times each, you keep the ball out of Baker's hands for the most part and control the clock, you can win. But they get too pass happy, and that's what scares me as a person that would actually like the Browns to do good after watching them be the laughingstock of Ohio for the last 30, 40, 50 years, whatever it's been. Because people make fun of the Bengals. At least they've done stuff in the last 20 years. I don't buy it. I don't think they're making a run. Even though the coach has done a great job. Stefanski, he's done a great job. He should win Coach of the Year. I just feel like Baker's not their guy. As crazy as this sounds, the Browns should look into some of these quarterbacks after this year. You got Stafford. Matt Ryan got shopped this year, reportedly. Hell, Brady could opt out if he's pissed off in Tampa. I'd give him a 1-year flyer with bring back Beckham, Landry, all these guys. I like Stafford be a good fit. They're not going to draft somebody. Their draft pick's not going to be high enough. But there's other options.
Yeah.
How do you feel about Baker?
How do I feel about Baker?
Because everybody's 50-50 on this guy.
I mean, I don't think he's playing for the right team. I don't think he's getting the support he needs. I think he probably wants to put the ball in the air, and that's not what the Browns can do. You know, they need to keep it on the ground and run with it. But as soon as they try to do anything else, it never works well for them.
No, when he throws the ball 30 times, you typically see 2 or 3 interceptions in that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, Nick's right. This is exactly what play action. Run the ball. You have 2 great running backs. Use play action. And he's got weapons all over the field, too. Even with OBJ out, I feel like they got better when he got hurt, as crazy as that sounds. But Baker wasn't forcing the ball to him anymore. Then now Landry's getting open. You got Donovan Peoples-Jones, who was a 6th-round pick out of Michigan. There's something about those guys from Michigan in the 6th round, isn't there? But like, he's catching 80-yard touchdown passes. Rashard Higgins, I think that's his name. Wide receivers had almost 100 yards last night. Njoku came out of nowhere. Now, Jamie says, do you think Giselle will want to go to Cleveland? Listen, she has to let Tom make a decision at some point in his adult life, right? Of course, she's not going to want to live in Cleveland, but she didn't want to live in New England either. And she was there for, that's it. I don't know how long they've been together, 8, 9 years, something like that, because Tom went through about 5 women his first couple years of his career. But I got the Giants. Sorry, Nick. You guys will still make the playoffs. That's more I can say about than the other team in Ohio, the Bengals. I don't got them beating Pittsburgh as much as I wanted to. This game is in Ohio. I'm curious if our lovely governor lifts the curfew so our Bengals fans can go to the game. But I think Pittsburgh will just take out all their frustration on these poor, depleted, injured Bengals.
Yeah. This is the Pittsburgh game for sure. That's exactly what's going to happen. Is Pittsburgh's going to come in angry, and they're going to take out all their aggression on a just depleted Bengals team that's pretty much just beat up incredibly.
They're rebounding. They're rebounding off their old quarterback, Andy Dalton, lighting them up like a firecracker last week, too. Andy Dalton looked like he was in his prime. Got another comment. Tom's 43 years old. How many years could he even play? That's a fair question, man. As a Patriots fan, I asked myself that for the last 5 years. Because honestly, I feel like last year he was so disappointing. He was our biggest problem, I think, last year. We had the number one scoring defense. We were 7 or 8-0, but I feel like the defense won us most of those games because he hasn't been as ineffective as Cam, but he was not effective last year at all. And then the fact that he refused to work with any of the younger receivers kind of made it worse. He would only throw the ball to Edelman or James White. That's all he would do. And then in the Tennessee game, you've seen it. He kept forcing the ball to Edelman, throwing interceptions. That's why we ended up losing that game. Nick thinks Zach Taylor needs fired in Cincinnati. I'll tell you, Crystal, that's a big thing that we're in Ohio. All the papers, all the radio, they want him to – I don't think he should be fired yet. He inherited a team that was absolutely terrible last year. He gets Burrow. Burrow blew everything in his knee. So it's hard to blame him. I think you have to give him one more year. But if they do fire him, I wouldn't be shocked because the Bengals – hey, Cincinnati fans, I think you should have appreciated Marvin Lewis a tad bit more. The guy won 8 or 9 games every year, and that wasn't good enough for you guys. Is this better? I'm just asking. Very interesting. But I wouldn't fire him. That's a Browns move, Nick. That's what you guys would do. Oh, our coach lost 13 games. Let's fire our coach. And Ryan, Tampa might be his last stop. I think it will be. I had this a few weeks ago. With him and Arians kind of been struggling to get on the same page. If Drew Brees, you tell me if I'm nuts, Crystal. If Drew Brees retires after this year, which most people think he will, Tom Brady wanted to go to New Orleans this offseason if Brees would have retired this year. He didn't, so he went to Tampa because he felt that was his next best option. If Brees retires, Brady holds the contract option for next year. Giselle would love New Orleans. I mean, he could opt out, go to New Orleans, take that spot from Drew Brees for 1 year because Brady's, let's be realistic. If he has 2 more years, I'd be shocked. But I think he could do 1 year with Michael Thomas and Kamara and all those guys. And Sean Payton. Sean Payton's going to use him right, which Bruce Arians isn't. I think if Tom Brady goes out one and done, he's not going to retire one and done, I don't think. Or he should have retired last year. I think he will go to New Orleans.
I think that would be the only way that he would do anything different or make another move if he went to New Orleans. And I think that is only because it sets him up to play for a team that's going to utilize him in the right way. And it's going to give him more of an opportunity to get back into the playoffs and get another Super Bowl win. I know my Tampa Bay crew, you guys hate me when I tell you this, but Tom Brady came down here to retire. I mean, he's not ready to give up the game yet. He wants to play, but he's not playing to win. He's not playing to win. He's not really playing to win. I mean, he basically wins one, wins one, loses one. Like he wants to have fun. You can see that in his actions around the Tampa Bay area. He wants to be able to relax and enjoy the game and have fun and play because he still can play, but he does not want to play to the caliber with Tampa as he did with the Patriots. That it's his way out of playing hardcore football and still getting to be on the field.
Nick says Michael Thomas won't be with New Orleans next year. I don't know. I know he was unhappy earlier this year, but Brady would definitely not consider that if that were to happen.
No.
He's making TikToks. He's not focused. I have not. See, I'm new to TikTok. I didn't know Tom Brady was on TikTok. That's breaking news to me.
See? I'm telling you. These Tampa Bay Bucks, they're all about the next best thing. Like, what's going on in the world other than football? I love my Bucks, but I can tell you what they do after the game, and it's not go home and watch film.
Yeah, I feel like he's not doing that anymore. When he was with New England, he was watching film. First one there, last one to leave. I feel like in Tampa, he's kind of taking it easy. It shows. It's why they're only 2 games. Coming into last week, they only had a 1-game better record than New England, and everybody's freaking out that New England's struggling. So I thought that was kind of telling.
When it's come to my picks, I've always because up until this year, Brady's never lost 2 in a row. So if he lost, I was like, oh, there's no way he's going to lose 2 in a row, right? So I would always
some big ones. That Saints game where they lost 38-3, that doesn't happen.
It doesn't happen.
He doesn't get blown out.
But everything that he's ever done in the past is not what he's doing here in the Tampa Bay area.
No, he doesn't have Belichick to cater to him and give him a top 5 defense. And as crazy as people think, like it's all Brady. That was a 50-50 relationship that mutually worked out for both of them. And that's exactly what it is. People always want to – it's funner for the media and people to talk about who is more important, Bill or Brady. Logically, they worked out for each other. When the offense struggled, the defense was always top 3. When the offense was great, the defense was okay, but Belichick could give him enough people on offense to make it work. That's why it worked for 20 years. That's not something that – the fact that New England's won 6 games this year actually blows my mind with the roster that they have. Because Cam's played like crap. Cam's played like garbage the last 2 months. After he got COVID, I don't know what happened. I don't know if that completely threw him off. I had COVID at the end of October. I mean, it took me about a month to get completely feeling good again. So I don't know how a football player would feel, but he has not been right since then. I don't know if no offseason hurt him because he doesn't know that. The playbook's hard to learn. Ask Chad Johnson. Couldn't learn it. I did say 9-7, Nick. That's not the point. But he got COVID. He didn't have an offseason. None of the rookies that they drafted are doing anything. Belichick said the rookies are so far behind that they don't even really get playing time. The 2 third-round pick tight ends don't play. N'Keal Harry is an absolute bust. How you guys ended up with DK Metcalf and we ended up with N'Keal Harry, I will never forgive Belichick for that. But it is what it is. We'll move on to next year. We're still technically in the playoff hunt, but I don't think we're going to beat Miami, even though I picked them. Defense won Tom's last Super Bowl. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Tom shouldn't have won the MVP of that Super Bowl. He shouldn't have won the MVP of the Atlanta one. James White should have won that MVP. And Sonny Michel should have won the MVP of the Rams one because he ran both touchdowns in. And he carried New England all the way through the playoffs. So, whatever. Tom, good luck, but you're not winning this year. See, we'll end this on a positive note. I don't think Tom's winning this year. And I know you definitely – how sick would it make you if he won another Super Bowl?
I don't think so. I think if he was with the Saints, it would not make me sick, but if he won one with Tampa Bay, that would make me throw up in my mouth.
It would make if they played Kansas City, I'd root for Tampa Bay because I hate Patrick Mahomes, but it still made me sick. That'd be a Super Bowl I wouldn't be excited for.
Would you go do something else or would you watch the game?
I'd watch the game. I love football too much. I've never skipped the Super Bowl. And, New England went to the AFC Championship game like 9 or 10 straight years. They didn't go to the Super Bowl every year, especially the Denver years when we lost to Peyton. Those were the ones that hurt the most. And I still watched the game. I just rooted for whoever played Denver because I couldn't stand Peyton Manning.
Well, I usually root for whoever is not the Patriots. So.
Well, that's just plain rude. The Patriots never did nothing to you except that one Super Bowl. But we'll leave that in the past. So,
I don't know. Josh, do you gamble? I mean, that was a coin flip. That was a coin flip of a play. It was a coin flip.
I don't. That's not legal in Ohio. He's watched trash all year with the Patriots. He's got to at least watch a few good games. All right, Nick, whatever. All right, on that note, check out our lineup for all of our live shows this week. Today's Tuesday, so tomorrow you'll have Working Fans podcast, 6 o'clock Eastern time, and you'll have Game Winning Drive at 9 o'clock. Plus, RSH is Thursday, Between the Pipes with Archie, Marital Nonsense Friday. Tons of loaded live shows. Check them out.
War. Tell them that's what we ready for. War. Tell them that's what we ready for. War. Bringing that to competitors. Till we see the confetti fall, be ready for war. Tell them that's what we ready for. War. Tell them that's what we ready for. War. Bringing that to competitors. Till we see the confetti fall, be ready for war. Tell them I'm ready, any opponent. The crown heavy and every minute it's chosen. A path only fit for kings, and you don't know what this court means. What did you enlist for? If it isn't getting more rings, then you gon' have to switch your team. Trust me, it gets more mean. I'm a nightmare going up against your dreams. First step is explosive like a bomb hit. Bet if I let it fly, I cannot miss. And you ain't got a chance at the top 10 when you getting clamped all night by a locksmith. On the block throwing lobs to my top bigs. I'm a chef, no look, what's the top dish? Tie game, feel the pressure as the clock ticks. Crossover, step back, hit a shot, swish. Tell them that's what we ready for. Tell them that's what we ready for.
Archie does really good picking out the music for these videos. I'm glad you guys can't see me when the videos are playing because I like kind of getting into it off screen. Well, Crystal, thank you for coming on. I'll have to have you back on once Seattle does whatever they're going to do in the playoffs. New England won't be there. So for your sake, hopefully Seattle makes a run. My Patriots won't be there this year, so it's going to be interesting for me being on the outside. Is there anything else you want to say before we tell the good people goodbye?
Go Hawks!
Oh God, you don't want to end it like that.
I mean, that's how I end every day.
Go Hawks. Well, I really appreciate you coming on. Check out all Crystal's stuff on whatthebuzz.com. She breaks it down really well statistically. She even made the Jets sound pretty interesting, which is hard to do because they're not interesting whatsoever. The only thing the Jets can do is lose. So you got a fan in Bakley. Thank you guys for tuning in. Like I said, thank you for joining me. Thank you guys for bearing with us on the late start. I'm going to have to yell at my internet provider at some point tomorrow. It's driving me insane. You can catch me Thursday on regularly scheduled hostilities. We got AJ Strange Brew from Working Fans coming on. He was unable to make it last week. He will be on there this week. We'll pick the TLC pay-per-view. Like I said, Between the Pipes with Archie Friday at 7:30 and Marital Nonsense with Ben and Danae Friday at 7. Game-winning drive tomorrow at 9. Working Fans tomorrow at 6. I'm Josh. This is Crystal. We'll talk to you guys later. Have a good night.